everybody. Welcome to the Fandom Post Radio podcast. I am your host for this episode, Kate, and joining me this episode is Kestrel.
Hello.
And DJ.
Hi.
And Cain.
Hello.
And it's been a bit, so we have breaking news. Well, not quite breaking anymore. It was a couple days ago. Pretty breaking. At least it didn't break after we recorded, like usual. So we
usually it's 3-week-old news.
Yes, and also and then usually the big news happens right after we record. Sometimes hours after we record. So first news, and then the holiday buyer's gift guide, where we will talk about the cool shit that is for sale on Right Stuff and other places, but mostly Right Stuff for cheap. So yeah, let's dive into the news.
All right. So first piece of news I have is that One Piece will be coming to Blu-ray finally with the next arc.
Wow.
This is kind of weird because the arc that they're releasing right now was the first one to be released on Blu-ray in Japan. And there was a 2-year gap before Funimation started releasing that arc, which everyone assumed meant that they were negotiating Blu-ray rights. But for some reason, they didn't get them, and they're going to start with the next arc. So, hey, better late than never.
Mysteries.
So it's been on DVD this whole time? Well, the movies have been on Blu-ray, right?
Yep.
Yeah, movies have been Blu-ray, yeah.
Yeah, because I see a couple at my local like video game stores and stuff like that, and they've always been on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I wish they would go back and license the early movies that we never got.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Like
especially the Hosoda one.
Good one. Yeah, that one.
That is certainly the one they would do.
I know, and they haven't. And I'm like,
know.
God damn it, where the hell is movie 6?
I don't know. But yeah, the series has still been on DVD this whole time, and yeah, I just watched the latest release of that. I think like the day this was announced, I finished it up, and man, DVDs are looking rough these days. I'm glad that I think I won't have any DVDs to buy after that.
Yeah, I'm in the process of replacing all of my wife's DVDs in our movie collection with Blu-rays and stuff, especially now that I have the projector set up in the new house, so DVDs look especially bad because the screen is so big.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been an arduous process, and I've learned that some DVDs never got Blu-rays, which is a bummer, but yeah, DVDs are only looking rougher by the day as like display technology gets better, and
exactly.
Imagine what a DVD will look like when 8K TVs become the norm. Like, it'll look like just a big mosaic art piece. Like, that's exactly what it'll look like. But are they gonna, like, go back and retro-release anything on Blu-ray, or is it just going forward and then maybe someday you'll get, like, a big, cool-ass collector's Blu-ray set or some shit?
Well, that's what's...
Of 1,000 episodes. So here's the fun thing
be...
that came at almost the same time as this news, was news from Japan of One Piece getting Blu-ray releases from the beginning of the series. Cropped to 16:9.
Ooh. Yeah, that's your monkey's paw wish right there.
Exactly. So they're doing what Funimation does with Dragon Ball Z.
Nobody should ever
so they're fucking ruining
that.
it. Yes.
Yes.
They're cutting out a quarter of the content so that it'll fit your TV screen.
Ugh.
Yep.
God. Ugh.
So maybe Funimation will license them, but I'd rather just have my DVDs that have the full picture.
Yeah. Ugh, God, I hate that. Ugh. That is like the worst. That is my biggest pet peeve.
It is really dumb, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be cynical about the whole process, but it was probably a pretty easy business decision to make because they knew that fans would buy them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, up to a certain point, like, I think that's one of the reasons maybe why Dragon Ball Z still kind of gets treated like shit, is because they know that fans will still buy the shitty releases because they want the releases. So it's super cliche, but the only way this could ever really be solved is one of those classic, and I don't even know if they ever work, but vote with your wallet situations, where it's like if you just don't buy them, they won't make them, but that has almost never worked because there are people out there who will want it regardless of the quality of the video or the audio or anything like that.
Yeah. You and I, Cain, have definitely talked about this a lot before, but, you know, Dragon Ball Z for the English releases and Star Wars, of course, are the two big examples where like they have the biggest properties. Why would they keep not releasing the version people want? And the easy guess is that if you just keep releasing them just incrementally better, but still leave yourself plenty of room to keep incrementing, then people will buy every single one because hey, it's the best one yet.
I mean, that's what up until this last generation, like NVIDIA graphics cards were like. There'd be a new generation of graphics cards that cost like $1,000 and they'd be 10% better, but they would sell like hotcakes because it is the most powerful card, even though the performance you would get would be marginal. Now that's been fixed with this generation with the 3000 series, which is actually a huge leap and bound over previous generations, but I mean, it's you can see it all over the place. I mean, how much better really are iPhones getting every time?
Right.
Or any smartphone, like any smartphone, really, how much better are they getting at this point? But people will buy them because, you want the coolest, shiniest, newest thing.
Yeah.
And I would say that the Dragon Ball Z releases don't even necessarily get incrementally a little bit better. I think they just get different.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so a few things there. Like, yeah, Apple has their annual planned obsolescence, which is bullshit. But that technology is being developed with like Dragon Ball Z and Star Wars. This material has been available for like 30, 40 years. They just choose to leave it on the shelf and not give it to people because they can. So that's why I find this a little more insidious. But yeah, as for the Dragon Ball Z releases, yeah, some of them have certainly gotten worse than previous releases, but in terms of the ones that you can buy the entire series and it's actually like readily available, they have been getting incrementally better because you had the orange bricks and then the level sets and now these new Steelbooks. So it was like, okay, it's cropped and DNR'd to shit, but you get it on Blu-ray now, so it's a little crisper. And then, well, now it's not cropped anymore. It's just still DNR'd to shit, and still kind of cropped. So they still have plenty of room for more releases. But then the releases that were actually good in the middle, like the Dragon boxes, are impossible to get. Sorry, did I say the level sets before? I meant the complete Blu-ray collections, the season Blu-ray collections.
The ones in like those blue boxes.
Yeah, the actual level sets, which they only released like the first, 13 episodes of, are the best the series has ever looked. But you gotta, if you're gonna buy them, you only get the first handful of episodes. So that's not feasible either. So yeah, in terms of what you can actually buy, the ones they're releasing now are the best ones. They're just still bad. Just like Star Wars.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was it? The last like good I would say like release of a Star Wars movie was if you bought like that special edition of Return of the Jedi that had the original theatrical like cut in a bonus disc, something like that. I can't remember which one it was from the original trilogy, but I know it was like just one of them. It may have been A New Hope, like the very first one that you got the 77 theatrical cut if you bought the special edition, but then after that it's been all over the map. But yeah, that just surprises me about One Piece in particular, since it's such an insanely popular thing that you would think at the very least Blu-rays would have been around, since 2010 at least, So that shocks me more so that they didn't even go to Blu-rays for the series until 2021 essentially.
Well, also because of these situations where Funimation will take like years off in between arcs, they're still releasing episodes from like 2012 or 2013 right now. So they're still way behind despite how long they've been at it. So One Piece was being released on Blu-ray in Japan, I think by 2012.
Wowzers. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, all right then.
At least my future purchases will not have to be DVD anymore.
That's true.
I'll take it.
What's up next on the news?
Next piece of news. So Code Geass is getting a few new projects. One of them is a smartphone game, because of course it is. They like money. And another one, really, the fact that there's Code Geass being made at all is just because they like money. The other one is that there's another new anime series coming. It's going to be called Z of the Recapture, or I guess Z or Z if you don't live in America. Yeah, so, Code Geass was a complete story that ended in 2008. And then they made some spin-off OVAs that nobody gave a shit about.
Was it Akito the Exiled?
That's the one.
How did I remember that?
Yeah, that's
weird.
And then that was not too long after the series ended. And then pretty recently, in the past few years, there was a movie trilogy compiling all 50 episodes of the series into 3 movies. And, that comes with your issues that you have with condensing material down that far. And also, they changed a lot of fundamental things about the story. And then released a sequel movie that was like, oh, wow, it's the Code Geass sequel. Lelouch is back. It's not really a spoiler because the title is Lelouch of the Resurrection. But it only serves as a sequel to the movie trilogy because certain things are changed in the plot of that trilogy that are absolutely necessary for the sequel movie to make sense. So that was certainly not as good, entirely unnecessary, and also doesn't actually function as a sequel to the series that is the only version actually worth watching. So all this to say, like many other original series that had complete stories, like Eureka 7, everything past that original series has just been a shameless cash grab and not worth looking into at all. So I expect this to be no different, even though I will inevitably watch it because Code Geass is one of my favorite series.
Would you say what's still the best condensation material in a movie trilogy is the original Gundam ones?
They're the only ones that I can think of that are actually better than the original material they condensed. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree there. If you haven't watched the series, if you're strapped for time, then those 3 movies will give you pretty much the best experience outside of just catching all the minutiae of the actual series. And of course, it isn't dubbed in English, so you won't really get that either.
Well,
but
it was once, but they're not going to release that shitty old dub.
Oh, was it? It wasn't the was it Ocean dub that had?
No.
Okay, because the series was Ocean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the reason I remembered Akito was my friends watched it at Otakon one year. I don't know if it was an Otakon premiere or they just saw it and was like, "Oh, Code Geass," and then they walked out and they were like, "Well, that was okay."
Yeah, right.
They're like, "That was fine, I guess."
Yeah, certainly not what you expect from Code Geass in terms of quality. Yeah, and those Gundam movies, they were actually dubbed before the series ever was. It was an old LA dub way back in the day. Yeah. Anyway, I doubt this new Code Geass will be worth watching, but whatever, we'll see. They're just gonna keep milking it.
Hell yeah, baby, keep making that money. What's next?
Are we ready for the news?
The news, yes,
the
bring
news. It. Okay, so we have been talking over the past few months about the various, almost certainly orchestrated leaks about Sony and AT&T negotiating over the potential sale of Crunchyroll. So, first bit of that was AT&T wanted $1.5 billion. Sony said nah. Next one was Sony was in talks for $900 million, and that was pretty clearly leaked to try to get some other suitors in line so that AT&T could ask for more. And now it has finally been announced by all parties involved that AT&T will be selling Crunchyroll and related brands such as Verve to not only Sony, but specifically Sony's company by the name of Funimation.
That was the crazy part about this announcement. It was like, wait, whoa, okay.
Yep. And that was for right around the middle of those two. It was about $1.2 billion. I think it was 1.175. So yeah, Funimation is going to own Crunchyroll, essentially hold a monopoly for anime in America, and Sony essentially holds a monopoly for anime worldwide. We've talked about these prospects quite a bit, but yeah, it's worrying for a number of reasons. Also promising in the sense that things would probably be combined. When they were partners, they made sure that Crunchyroll got to do all the things that they do well. So hopefully, maybe they'll combine their video services, and that means just scrapping Funimation and having all the content on Crunchyroll. That would be real neat.
That would definitely be the best way it goes, since Funimation streaming is a hot, steaming pile. God, I hate it.
Pile, you could say.
Nice.
So, yeah, maybe this way we can get improved Crunchyroll subtitles and, take the strengths of both people and then, work together to make everything amazing.
Yeah,
please.
Like Crunchyroll is the best at streaming, that whole business, simulcasts, everything dealing with that, which is why they got to do all of them when they were partners. Funimation, obviously, they can dub things, they can release things on home video. They did a lot of really nice releases and really quick turnarounds for Crunchyroll releases, and they still are. So, yeah, I think as long as they realize where each company's strengths lie and, don't try to make it too Funimation-y because they happen to be the ones in charge now, things can go pretty well.
Just please, no more black bar subtitles.
Do you have those on the app you watch them on too?
I do, yes. And it doesn't happen all of the time. I watch on the Roku Funimation app, but it doesn't happen all the time, but there's also audio sync issues. Like it just happened in, I think, the latest episode of Moriarty the Patriot, and at one of the worst times because it's like 4 people talking at the same time.
Does Funimation just not work on Chrome? Because 3 different computers now, it just won't run on that browser for me.
I haven't used their web player in years.
It works on the web. The Chrome one works on Macs. Subtitles will not play at all right now on Safari.
What are they doing?
There's no black bars, at least. There used to be black bars on both players, but now, they're gone on Chrome, but now I can't get the damn thing I can't get the subtitles to work on Safari at all.
I need Firefox on my computer specifically just to watch things on Funimation. That is the only reason I use Firefox now.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, my web player for Funimation, because sometimes I watch on my my Surface, has a problem with the overlay as well, where the overlay won't go away. So it's just everything. I love
how it's just broken in amazing different ways on every single platform.
Every single one is broken.
Everyone has problems with it. It's not good.
Nope. So yeah, leave that all to Crunchyroll. We'll be fine. And the fact that Crunchyroll is almost exclusively a video streaming platform means that if you're going to spend $1 billion+ on Crunchyroll, you're gonna keep the video streaming. So if they consolidate, Crunchyroll will continue to exist. Hopefully they don't fucking throw all their employees away and put in people who have not been doing a good job at that from Funimation.
No, hopefully. I just remember hearing about when Crunchyroll changed hands around the first time and their tech team was treated like garbage, and then shit went bad for a while. And then things kind of got better again, but they sacked half the team then. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be happening this time around because that's that tech team has been desperately needed.
I hope so. I hope they realize that. I can't speak firsthand. I've never worked with any of these companies in any capacity, but Funimation's Glassdoor reviews are extremely bad. Crunchyroll's are marginally less bad. I hope everything works out for everyone.
Yeah.
It's always worrying when these things happen, and often justified.
To be fair, it seems finding a company with good Glassdoor reviews is really difficult.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, because,
Yeah.
Oof.
And then sometimes when you find a company with good Glassdoor reviews, you find out that management was just seeding good reviews. So
Yeah, Glassdoor's not really reliable in any way, shape, or form. Usually you just have to listen to people being like, hey, this bad shit went down, but...
Yeah, I mean, I have heard that firsthand from a few employees, certainly of Funimation, and, you know, there were a lot of big talks around the time that Crunchyroll was bought, and they were focusing their attention on Verve, that they were shit-canning like half the team and treating the rest as garbage. So, yeah, you know, probably all of that is not completely wrong, but hopefully things work out as well as possible.
Did any of the articles state how much AT&T bought it for? Like, how much of a profit do they stand to make off of this?
They made no profit.
Oh, fuck.
I don't think they made a profit No, wait. I'm thinking of the other. I'm thinking of when they bought CNET. Never mind. I don't know how much they. I mean, I'm thinking of Viacom and CNET. I'm not thinking. Okay, sorry. I'm all confused.
I think they bought it for about $1 billion. So for how much it's grown since then, they basically threw it away.
Yeah, they broke even because he had $200 million, but for a company like that, that's nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, and it gets a little complicated because it's not like AT&T just bought it back in the day. They like formed a joint venture with another company where they each had 50-50 stake, and it was owned by that for a few years, and then they bought out the rest of the stake in that company, so then they owned it entirely. There are a few slight changes in hands like that, so it's hard to say exactly.
Have we heard much out of Funimation post Sony sale about how Sony's been dealing with Funimation, other than the fact that Sony lawyers took care of the LOL suit with aplomb?
Nothing comes to mind, especially about that. No.
I wonder if I don't know. I think Sony probably taking a little more of a steady look at this stuff now. So
yeah, and they had announced, or they like put out a big article before all of this was in talks about how they wanted to like make anime like the fourth or fifth pillar of their business or whatever, and like cited how successful Demon Slayer was and all that. So the fact that came out, and then they've been in these negotiations and ultimately did buy Crunchyroll for over $1 billion after not too long of a time period to basically get a monopoly worldwide. It sure seems like they care about it.
I know you keep saying monopoly worldwide, but I mean, Netflix and Amazon are things that still exist.
Well, Amazon doesn't give a fuck about anime anymore.
No, they just like money, but, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, they haven't even streamed anything for like a year.
That's true.
Netflix, yeah, that's another thing that, I've been bringing up as these talks have been going on, is that this is worrying for, our small companies, our Sentai's at this point is pretty fucking small in the grand scheme, our discotheques, etc. But for the sake of having a company that cares more about anime, that's really able to stand toe-to-toe with Netflix, that's potentially a good thing. As for, letting their quality slip because they have the North American market cornered, I hope they realize as they spend $1.2 billion on Crunchyroll, where Crunchyroll came from, why they became so successful, and why they're so good at doing what they do, which is that if anime fans are not getting the service that they want, they will go back to piracy. So hopefully that is enough to inspire them to not just really let it slip in the face of very little competition.
Let's just hope that the age of arrogant Sony is not returning.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't yet. Although I do think it's interesting that this deal only went through after we kind of had an initial idea of how much the PS5 was selling. Sony's probably looking at their figures going, yeah, okay. We could do this.
By the way, small aside about Demon Slayer, I didn't include this because I'm waiting for it to hit number 1, but it has taken the number 2 spot of the all-time Japanese box office. So
damn.
It's very close to taking number 1. It's only less than 2 billion yen away.
What's number 1?
Spirited Away.
Ooh. Damn.
Yep.
Yep, very close.
Now all of a sudden you're gonna see an emergency screening of Spirited Away in hopes of just trying to keep Demon Slayer at bay.
It's funny because that kind of happened like a few times.
That
back
happened
and
here,
forth
didn't it?
With Spirited Away in Your Name, because you know we're talking about like the Japanese box office here. Your Name doesn't compare to Spirited Away, but for worldwide gross, because of China primarily, Your Name went past Spirited Away pretty quickly, and then Spirited Away had never been in theaters in China, so then that premiered there, and then it took #1 again, and then Your Name had some other emergency screening somewhere else, some re-showing, so that it could take #1 back for highest grossing anime films for worldwide gross.
We had
But
something
we'll see
kind of
what
like
happens.
that here with one of the Marvel films, didn't we? Like they re-released Endgame to try and make $1 billion because it didn't at first or something, or...
It wasn't Endgame, that was
Or was
still
it-
regularly in theaters.
Yeah, I know it was one of them that got this re-release because it was so close to $1 billion or something, and
Yeah.
and then they re-released it for like 3 weeks.
Right.
It wasn't Black Panther, was it?
No, I think Black Panther got that pretty easily. I can't remember. Maybe Captain Marvel? I don't know.
It was in
One
the
of-
before times.
The before times, the after times got weird too. At one point during the summer, when I looked at what the top grossing movies at theaters were, and since everything was like drive-ins and it was the middle of the summer, it was like stuff like Jaws and whatever was charting in 2020. I'm like, what had just happened?
I
This
did
is
go
so
to
crazy.
a drive-in for the first time ever this year.
Drive-ins are fucking dope.
I fucking hated it. It was the worst experience I've ever had in my life watching a movie.
Oh, well,
Watching
yeah,
some
it's not
movies.
That
built
doesn't
for you
sound
at all.
enjoyable. Like, if you actually want to watch a movie, I don't think a drive-through is cool.
No.
No,
it
it's-
You
wasn't
want to,
like...
Mac it with a girl? Probably a better place to go.
It's more of a fan event, really. Like you go to experience a movie that you've already seen or enjoy, but you see it in a different atmosphere with other fans. That's basically why everybody I know and myself goes to drive-ins. Like I've seen Evil Dead a bunch of times, but I'll go watch it, with a bunch
That
of
sounds
other.
like a good drive-in movie.
Yeah.
Also, Kestrel, were you in a convertible?
No.
No.
See, that would help.
Yeah, right. So I had my windows rolled up. It was super hot in there. Just everything about it was just an awful experience. And like, you can't all just hang out like outside your cars because there's a pandemic going on. So
That's why you need a flatbed truck or a convertible.
yeah, but then if everyone is in their flatbeds and convertibles, then it's still kind of a risk. So yeah, it was bad. Obviously, I wasn't seeing films for the first time. I wasn't seeing new films that like you need to see in a theater or on a 4K TV or something.
What movie was it?
I saw The Empire Strikes Back and Inside Out. It was an interesting double feature.
Yeah, that's a really that's a really weird selection. Was it on 35 mil or digital?
I don't know. I think digital. It's from
probably
it's probably
digital.
Yeah.
Because 35 mil is the way to go. That's basically.
There was a campaign a few years ago for with a lot of the drive-in movie theaters that were still open to get digital projectors, and a lot of them were actually running. I think there was some organization actually set up to try to help all these places get digital projectors, so they could stay in business.
Yeah,
I remember hearing
that's what my drive-in theater did as well. But they still get 35 millimeter film whenever they can, because that's kind of their pride and joy. And the projectors they use are from like I think the 40s, like right after World War II.
That's super cool. That's super
And
cool.
they didn't actually buy a digital projector. Actually, they produced a documentary about themselves that I have, but they just bought like 4 normal projectors and stacked them on top of each other and then aligned the image.
Oh, what? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
And then they built a shed to house it all in. So they show digital stuff very sparingly, especially if it's on VHS. Like they have a VHS festival every year, so they just hook that up to the digital because obviously you can't get film of a lot of these schlocky B movies. But for the most part, yeah, they're all about getting the 35 millimeter film and doing that. I mentioned Evil Dead because that's what I saw, and then Bruce Campbell was there and everything. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend a drive-in theater for someone who wants to like experience the movie as a movie and and more so if you want to experience it as a fan thing. And unfortunately, yeah, because of the pandemic, you weren't getting the best experience either because you couldn't be outside your car, chilling, sitting in a chair and you know, eating junk food and shit like that. So I would recommend giving it another shot when everything's kind of back to normal. But yeah, that's unfortunate that you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, what you're talking about, that sounds like an event. Like, mine was just, you pull up and watch a shitty version of a movie in a shitty environment. So, yeah, I can understand why you would go to your drive-in sometimes. By the way, speaking of highest-grossing films of the year, that Demon Slayer movie is also number 6 worldwide for 2020 at this point.
What's the number 1 grossing right now in the United States? I know for a while it was Bad Boys for Life.
I believe it still is, because that is the...
Wait, what?
Yeah.
That is the highest grossing non-Chinese movie worldwide in 2020. And
followed right by Sonic the Hedgehog.
well, yeah, Sonic's number 3. Sonic's number 3, but Demon Slayer is about to take its place as highest grossing animated film of the year. This is worldwide, though. I'll check American box office.
Yeah, DJ was Bad Boys for Life because it was one of the only movies to release before the lockdown happened, so everybody could go out and before everything went to shit. So it got an unfair leg up, really, compared to movies like Tenet.
Right. Bad Boys
What if
for
it's
Life.
just a really good movie? And we just don't know it.
What, Bad Boys for Life?
Yeah.
It's possible.
I mean, Bad Boys 2 is one of the best action movies ever, so, you know, who knows?
Bad Boys for Life is still got a very high lead for number 1 in the American box office this year. Sonic is number 2, also a very high lead after that for everything else. Yeah, Tenet's way down at number 8, because why do you even bother?
Indeed.
You know,
Kind of like the football season, the box office this year is just going to have an asterisk next to it going, everything goes fucked.
We tried.
Yep. But yeah, that's why it's so impressive that this fucking Demon Slayer movie has made more than virtually any other movie in Japanese box office history. And
Yeah,
it came
that's
out
crazy.
during the pandemic.
Yeah, man. Imagine if it wasn't a pandemic. Whew.
I actually don't know if it would have been a whole lot different because maybe people just didn't give a shit and went to see it anyway.
It's probably about half and half. Like, the numbers went down because there was a pandemic and there were all these restrictions in place, but the numbers also went up because it had absolutely no competition.
Yeah, so it probably would have been a little bit bigger, but I don't think it would have been like exponentially larger.
Yeah, I mean, either way, the fact that it's probably about to be the highest grossing film in Japanese box office history after, like, I don't know, a month and a half is pretty insane.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's super impressive.
Yeah. Maybe 2 months. All right, anything else on the big news for Funimation buying Crunchyroll?
I'm just curious to see when we're going to see changes, like to figure out when we're going to see changes.
It'll be a while.
Yeah, I figured it probably won't be until 2021 at the very least.
Yeah, very earliest. Like, well, 2021's in a few weeks, so definitely that. Also, the deal hasn't, like, been done. They've just announced that all parties have agreed to it. So, Funimation does not, in fact, own Crunchyroll yet. And, you know, with the Sony purchase, that took a few years for any real changes to be seen. And certainly for, like, them to start working with Aniplex, that really only happened in the past year, 2 years. So yeah, these things move slowly.
Yeah, that's about all I have to say for now. I mean, my friend's main reaction was, well, at least I only have to go to one place now. So that is a glass half full kind of thing. It was like, well, at least I don't have to have Crunchyroll and Funimation. I'll just need to have one of them.
No guarantee, but that does seem like a likely scenario, at least for, you know, subtitled simulcasts.
Right, which is all that they really watch, so.
Yeah, when they were doing the thing where Crunchyroll got all of those and Funimation did all the simuldubs, I think I went certainly a few seasons, if not a few years, without a Funimation subscription, because I generally don't watch simuldubs.
Yeah, I was hoping to witness some more salt from people, but I just don't operate in those circles anymore, so.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really seems like a positive.
I was like, hey, I can't wait to see people get salty about this. So then I ended up being so busy at work, I didn't hang out on the Twitter long enough to see any of the angst break out. So, oh well.
Yep. All right. So my last piece of news, even more breaking. So yesterday, as of this recording, probably 2 or 3 days ago, from when you listen to this, Disney had their Investor Day, where they announced a shitload of stuff, and among that was a shitload of Star Wars stuff. And this was good timing for me because, as I mentioned recently, I watched kind of all of Star Wars this year. So I'm basically caught up with the stuff that I care about watching, and they're dumping a bunch more on me. So hopefully there's some good stuff in there. I could talk about this all podcast, but the part of it that I can justify including in this news segment is that one of these announcements, one of the many new Star Wars series coming to Disney Plus in the next few years, is going to be an anime anthology called Star Wars Visions. They claim it will be celebrating Star Wars Galaxy through the lens of the world's best Japanese anime creators. Who they deem the world's best Japanese anime creators remains to be seen. But we've had a few things like this in the past. Some are good, some are less good. As an anthology by different creators, chances are some will be better than others. Obviously, I'll watch it. I'm intrigued to see how it turns out, and I hope it's a good match. It's cool that we're finally getting actual Star Wars anime after like 45 years. And this is kind of the first interest Disney has shown in anime in quite a few years. Certainly Disney of America.
American Disney.
Yeah, I mean, Japanese Disney, they did like the Marvel anime and stuff, but in terms of anime that has been commissioned by Disney, it's been a long time.
Well, I don't know. Where's that Lilo and Stitch series fall?
Right, that was do you realize how long ago that was?
I don't know. That might have been a while ago.
That was certainly pre-2010s.
That's true.
Yeah, that was 2008 was the Stitch anime. And yeah, Disney Japan has done a few of them. They did some Marvel ones, which is the only anime currently on Disney+. But yeah, Disney America certainly has not been interested in anime anytime recently. They gave up all the Ghibli movies to G-Kids 5 years ago. So, yeah, it's significant.
Yeah. Wait, when did they fire Lasseter?
Yeah, it was a lot more recently than that. That was like 2018.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, does that line up? No, okay.
They went without Ghibli movies and Lasseter for a few years at least.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the studios and or creators they pick. Like, part of me is really hoping for like quality studios and creators, and the other part is I hope they just like they just pick like garbage people under the guise that they're quality. Like they pick Trigger, but then Trigger just makes an Inferno Cop Star Wars anime. So it's just picture cutouts of like Obi-Wan and Anakin just like fighting each other with really shitty production values. Maybe the real part of me just hopes it's a mix. Like there's some that are really good, and then there's a couple that are absolutely meme-worthy and hot trash.
That will almost certainly be the case. It almost always is for these anthologies by a bunch of different creators.
I really haven't seen a whole lot of things like that, to be honest.
I bet they don't push it and it gets ignored.
What? Like this doesn't get made at all? Or people don't watch it because they don't advertise it? Gotcha. Yeah.
That, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see, because anime is cool these days, and Star Wars is kind of hot shit again, and
Disney loves money.
Disney loves money. So, yeah, I feel like it has a decent chance, but certainly of all the Star Wars things they announced, I expect this to be the least popular. maybe like the Bad Batch Clone Wars spinoff will be a little less popular. I don't know.
I think it may depend also on. Now I don't know if they've made any specifications about this, but maybe like how long these shorts are. Like, am I gonna bring up an episode and it'll be split into 2 like 10-minute things, or is it gonna be a whole insular episode each time, or is it gonna be like 3 or 4-minute vignettes, or will it be varied? Like, I think that'll do something with the popularity as well. Like, how much of your attention span does it need?
Mm-hmm.
Can it be Can it be short form enough that you could just put it on and you'd be like, oh, I watched Star Wars Visions and it took me 45 minutes?
Yeah, it doesn't quite read like that, because they do have a few animated series like that in the past few years that are like very short micro series. But these are like, if they're advertising short films by top anime creators, I would expect them to give you at least like half an hour for each one. But all speculation, all conjecture.
Right. Reckless speculation.
Yep. That's what we do here.
That's my specialty. My specialty is just being wrong. So.
Being confidently incorrect.
You say it with enough conviction.
It was cocaine, I swear.
Right.
Even if they still exist.
Yeah, I was definitely blown away by how much Star Wars stuff that they released. I mean, the inner, I can't even call myself a real fan of Star Wars necessarily. I've seen a lot of it, but I can't tell you the little itty bitty facts in like timeline things that
There's
are a real,
lot of that.
Yeah, that a real fan, quote unquote, could do. But there was a part of me that's like, they're just grinding out so much shit to try and cash cow this, and a lot of it's gonna end up being like half baked trash.
That's like exactly why I don't consider myself a huge fan anymore. Because like I've seen all the movies, I love all the movies, but I have not watched anything outside of the movies, and I feel like now you kind of have to.
Sort of. They're turning into a Marvel-esque thing where it's like a movie every year, and then maybe some short series and a video game perhaps, and then a lot of merch.
Too much now.
A lot of merch.
And
I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a lot of merch for a very, very, very long time, to the point where when Disney bought the franchise, they scrapped it all because they could not make heads or tails of it.
Yes. So, yeah, lots to unpack here. So, because I've immersed myself in this lore so deeply in the past few months, I think, Cain, your understanding of the Universal Century is probably about the level that you need to be with Star Wars at this point to really get into all the nitty-gritty. And, yeah, in terms of just pumping out a bunch of shit and a lot of it being shit, I think... The fear is that it'll be like the Fate franchise, where you have your main canon, which is great, and then everything else is bad, or at least nothing compared to the main canon. Star Wars, there's a lot of bad stuff, but a lot of the bad stuff is the main canon, like the core canon,
the other way
the
around.
prequel trilogy. And a lot of the best stuff is the kind of spin-offs that didn't seem all that critical before, but like, Cain, you're watching second season of The Mandalorian, is that correct?
Yeah.
So, do you feel like comfortable with everything it's been introducing? Because it's been pulling a lot from the animated series.
Yeah, like I'm aware of the characters. I don't know, like I'm aware of like Ahsoka Tano and characters like that, so I don't feel like I'm drowning in it, but I could definitely understand why someone would feel that way, because I know Ahsoka Tano is so popular for people who have seen Clone Wars and stuff, that it was a big deal when she was introduced, but for people who hadn't really watched it, it probably didn't really have the same effect, other than, oh, she's from, I almost want to say Clone Wars is like a cult classic series of sorts, where it's really good, but not many people have watched it, because in America, if it's a cartoon, and this is changing, but if it's a cartoon, it's for kids and is not worth really watching for any sort of serious narrative. So
also, it's an extremely long time investment.
It fucking really is. So no, and I think Mandalorian and Rogue One are probably my two, like, definitely clear favorites of all of the newer properties of Star Wars at this point. And I think that's mainly because Rogue One is a strong movie, and it feels akin to like a Saving Private Ryan or a World War II movie in the same way that the second Captain America movie feels more like a Cold War spy movie than a comic book like action movie. So yeah, I could definitely see where like DJ comes from, because all of a sudden they're just bringing in all of this content and all these characters that to the fan base is really important and cool to see, but for people who don't have that experience, they're just other characters.
Yeah.
So,
and I think your reaction to like Ahsoka's appearance and other characters from the animated series is what I expect from the many Star Wars fans who are totally into The Mandalorian but haven't touched any of the animated series. And that makes sense because I think they're doing a very smart job with making everything completely accessible to the people who only know the live-action Star Wars movies, while still giving a lot of, extra depth for the fans who know these characters inside and out. And, for the Ahsoka series, I think they're going to continue that. For this other one that's related to The Mandalorian, I think they're going to continue that. I think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are doing a really good job at towing that line. So I'm pretty confident about those like big tentpole properties that they're putting out for the the mass live action fan base, that things will still be pretty accessible. But yeah, it is becoming very much like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, both in terms of quantity and interconnectedness. So I think, it's getting harder and harder to just pick up a Marvel movie and watch it on its own because they're increasingly more dependent on all the other ones. And so I think there's legitimate fear that that's going to happen a bit too much with Star Wars as well, especially with just how much they're making. And yeah, like Kate mentioned, before Disney bought Star Wars, there were like 5 to 10 tiers of canon, where this one is more canon, this one is more canon, this one, etc. Which, I mean, if you think about it, it kind of exists to a degree for like Dragon Ball. It's just not officially laid out. But Disney, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which takes, a billion different comic book storylines and just gives you one single canon to follow. Disney, I think, was kind of smart with just saying, I mean, it's kind of conceited because they were like, okay, everything made before we bought it is bullshit now. Everything we make after we bought it is
the Bible.
As is the Bible, exactly. You need to know all of it. It all matters and is relevant as the original films, which is kind of bullshit. But I think they've been doing a pretty good job at making that manageable. And you can go into Star Wars and say all of this is the same level of canon. If I want to explore the depth of it, I have the option to. It's all on Disney Plus, and all of these future properties will fall in line with that. So I think it's a lot easier to just be like, I want to check out the main Marvel Studios MCU canon. I want to check out just the core Star Wars film and TV canon. And it's a large time investment, but it's pretty easy to follow in that there's one singular storyline.
I wonder, is it sated or satiated?
Both.
Both? You can use both? Okay, I wonder if this satiates the people, like the really hardcore fans who were up in arms about the eradication of the extended universe, since now a pretty deep lore and universe is being created, which was one of the things that people were afraid of, is that you're getting rid of all of the novels that created such a lush universe. Well, at the very least, Disney is attempting to rebuild that, and I hear that they're cribbing a lot from those books, even if they officially said these books are all heresy. So I wonder if they feel a little bit better about it, because they're getting such a an ocean of material now. Now it's it's TV instead of books, so it'll never be as vast as novels on novels on novels on novels. But at least
they're
it
doing
is
those too.
Yeah, but at least it isn't. They release one movie every couple of years, and then some meaningless Saturday afternoon cartoons that are not adding to canon other than just here's some super deformed merchandise that we can sell you. Or whatever. So I would be interested to see how many of them are like, okay, I'm sort of getting back into it because the lore is being established and it is being cribbed off of this thing that we had held so close for so long. So that would be an interesting thing to see, though. I'm sure it would also intersect with people who are just like, this is an abomination.
Yeah, there's going to be that no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
But certainly, like, the big fan favorites of the formerly expanded universe, now Legends, have been written into the canon in various different ways. I don't know how much you know about Thrawn. Obviously, he was mentioned in The Mandalorian. He's the main antagonist for the second 2 seasons, the second half of Rebels. And, he was a huge character from novels and comic books back in the 90s and 2000s. So the fact that they brought him back and they're giving him so much depth and so much importance in the story, I think they're going to keep doing that with things that people really liked from the expanded universe. And it's a good thing that they've looked at who does Star Wars right and who does it wrong, and that's why Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are in control of half of these new properties announced, because they've been doing an incredible job with it, and why I doubt you'll see Abrams touch another Star Wars thing. And I mean, George Lucas hasn't made a good Star Wars for a long time. The prequel trilogy was not a good thing. So giving it to the right people, and Dave Filoni in particular is literally the biggest fucking Star Wars dweeb on the planet. So he is intentionally bringing back all these things that fans like him loved that were declared non-canon, in a way that can work into the official canon. And eventually, because everything is on this equal playing field of just one tier of canon, we might see them in future mainline Star Wars films. No reason to believe otherwise at this point.
Absolutely. And I mean, why wouldn't you? Just to put one final thing on it, so because I know probably this doesn't really interest DJ or Kate as much.
Sorry, guys. I warned you.
I'm sorry.
I knew this would happen.
I don't. I don't. I mean, I don't care. I mean, they're doing the smart thing, which is, it's like, we'll take the best parts of this and ignore how you killed off Chewbacca. Obviously.
Yeah, it's the easiest business decision. You have this lore that you can take and use, and just take the best and find someone who has the passion to do it justice. And you don't have to create brand new lore. You can just use the best of the old stuff and just get rid of all the shit.
Which is, what Marvel does too, right? It cherry picks all the greatest hits of comic book storylines and melds them into one.
Probably. I don't have a whole lot of experience there, but I would assume they would take at least some of the greatest hits.
Right. I know, I haven't read Marvel comics. I've read one or two, but every time I'm looking up, production information, development information on these movies, it's always it takes this element from this story and this element from this story and just combines all the ones that people really loved throughout the decades and takes the best features of them.
Right.
Which, makes total sense. And it's kind of the same way with the Dragon Ball Super Broly. It created a new canon version of Broly, and got rid of the fucking stupid things about Broly's story.
Right, exactly. So it makes sense, and it's also good to see that. I think it's also weird that outside of The Mandalorian, my favorite Jon Favreau property is the movie Chef.
I just watched that for the first time.
Chef is a good fucking movie. I don't care what people say. And the cooking is accurate. The cooking is so super accurate.
Yeah, because they had the guy that he later has on the Chef show as the supervisor for all that.
Yeah, but I fucking love Chef. Makes me hungry every time.
Yeah,
I don't even like grilled cheese.
Really?
Nah, well, I don't really eat cheese. So obviously,
so
grilled
weird.
cheese.
How did you live through college?
Ramen.
Did you just eat cheese in college? Is that just what you did?
Yeah, did you just eat nothing but grilled cheese in college?
I'm also not familiar with this concept.
No.
I'm not a big fan of cheese either, Cain. I'll come out and say
There was just
Traitors.
There was just a very weird moment at my college where, like we had a, your typical dining hall. They had they had some ladies that were back there cooking food or whatever. They had an egg cook station, so you could request like, oh, can you cook my eggs like this, that, and the other thing, and they would do it for you, which was nice. But until the day that me and my friend were standing there, and we saw a kid walk up to the lady with 2 pieces of bread and a piece of cheese from the sandwich cart and said, "Hey, can you make me a grilled cheese?" And me and my friend looked at each other and said, "Holy shit!" And then the next thing, she was over there faster than I could look, and she's like, "Can you make me grilled cheese?" And then like everybody's head in the room like turned, and then that started the great grilled cheese run of the year I was in college, where now the ladies at lunchtime were just sitting there making both wheat and white grilled cheeses, and they would just stick them on a plate, and people would come by and just grab the grilled cheeses. And there was all this other food, and all anybody wanted to eat were fucking grilled cheeses.
I like how this experience makes you assume that nobody in the past 20 years could get through college without exclusively eating grilled cheese sandwiches.
Or having some sort of grilled cheese epiphany.
Right.
Like you just discovered the Holy Grail. Granted, it is that is exciting.
There were days.
So
there were days at college where I was eating a mix. God, I don't know how I didn't gain the freshman 15. I would get like a grilled cheese for lunch and a pile of French fries.
Oh, fuck yeah!
To be young again. To be young again.
Yeah, I did to back you up, Kate. Just because I didn't eat anything until I moved out. I did eat almost entirely grilled cheese, French fries, pizza, and desserts at college.
Yep.
Nice.
To be young again.
I mean, if you take out from my college experience with my calf, if you take out grilled cheese from Kestrel's list and sub in fried chicken patty sandwiches, that was basically mine. Was fries, chicken patty sandwiches, pizza, and desserts, and then occasionally when they had like a festive holiday meal, I would partake.
Well, they had rotisserie chickens in our school cafeteria.
Whoa, shit!
Quarters. So yeah, so there were a lot of days where dinner was like a quarter of rotisserie chicken and a pile of French fries.
Did you go to college at a Sam's Club?
No, like those were the only the rest of the food in the place relatively mediocre. Weekend breakfast was pretty good, except they did have a rotisserie chicken machine and they would make grilled cheeses to order. So. They had a frozen yogurt machine that I was terrified and I would never eat because that thing probably did not get cleaned. So, yeah. But, college.
Indeed.
God, I miss it.
All right, do you have any other news on the list, or is that it?
That's the news.
The news. So where should we go to next? Did you guys want to talk about, I know we had mentioned holiday gift lists, and things like that, recommendations, stuff like that. Did you want to go there? Did anyone else have anything they wanted to kind of delve into in terms of this new season real quick? If someone just had like an insane epiphany about a show that they were watching or anything like that?
Insane.
We're an hour in and we haven't started the topic yet, so we should probably get to it.
All right, cool. Sounds good to me.
We'll catch up. We'll wrap the season when the season wraps at this point.
Yeah.
All right.
We've talked about it enough.
Sounds good to me. I mean, I did bust my ass catching myself up, for this. So, I mean,
okay.
Great.
We said what the topic would be, like weeks ahead of time.
Well, I mean, come on. I only check the Slack like once every 4 days.
Yeah, well, that's not our problem.
It's not our fault your new house is haunted.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not
haunted
caught up
by terrible DIY.
I'm not caught up on my shows because DJ made me record this on a Friday, and I have like 6 shows on Friday.
Oh, so now we're blaming
I didn't watch
DJ.
any of my shows today either.
Well, I'm glad we decided not to talk about that. Then we should just move on to the holiday gift buying guide.
I'm even behind on an episode of Westgate Park, so
You're not missing much.
I haven't watched today's Mandalorian yet.
I actually like Westgate Park. I think it's a fine show, and I'm enjoying it.
So we're going with a yes. We're going to talk about this season.
No, I'm debating. You said I didn't miss anything, and I said no. I like that show.
That's the one show I deliberately haven't caught back up yet because it was the one I was least excited by. So I will, but I caught up on the other 3 first. But okay, so let's talk about what to get your weeb friends and family for Christmas, Hanukkah, holidays this year. Kestrel, I know you got a fucking thick list.
So usually what we do for these is we just go around, each person recommends one thing, continue on that cycle until we're like, yeah, it's been long enough. I have like a top 20 releases of the year, which is what I always do for these, is just rank my top releases of the year, not necessarily what's on sale or anything like that. So I will start at the top because I don't know how many I'll get to. But I'll start with my top release of the year, which is the Clannad and Clannad After Story Complete Collection Blu-ray Steelbook Collector's Edition. Obviously, Clannad After Story is one of my favorite anime of all time. My top 5. It's DJ's favorite anime of all time. And we haven't gotten any sort of fancy edition for any Clannad before. So it was very exciting to finally get something. You know, obviously a steelbook isn't as exciting as like big box set with all kinds of extras in it. But for a 13-year-old show, you're probably not going to get that at this point from Sentai anyway. So I was excited at least that we got this. Something that Sentai does that not a lot of other companies that do re-releases often do, especially Funimation, is every time they do a re-release, they press new discs, and there are often improvements over the old ones. So just for quality of the picture, encoding, subtitles, etc., these are better Clannad Blu-rays than have been released in the past. So it was exciting to rewatch it with those improvements in place. The steelbook looks incredible, and the only bad thing, unfortunately, even my top recommendation for the year is not a perfect release because the discs are stacked. The discs are stacked discs. The discs are stacked, which is something that I haven't seen since I first bought Clannad on DVD 10 years ago. So seeing it in this nice fancy steelbook was very disheartening.
Yeah, that's weird. Why would they do that?
What do you mean by they're stacked?
Weird.
So like you have one disc holder, and just all the discs are on top of each other. So if you want the bottom disc, you got to pull them all out.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought you were talking about the ones where it's like they fit 2 or 3 discs in a case, but they're like scalloped on top of each other, which also sucks dick.
That's the
which
worst.
Sucks dicks, but that's what the better alternative would have been, to fit, however many 4 discs in one steelbook, which is what they have to do. So I was expecting that, and that would have been much preferable. But no, you gotta like fucking bend the top bunch of discs to the breaking point to pull them all out. Yeah, it sucks.
God, I get that dreadful feeling every time I take out one of the discs from my Godfather set because they're so tight in there. They're not stacked, but to get each one off, I cracked my first copy of Godfather 2 that way, trying to get it off that godforsaken holder. Yeah, it cracked in the middle.
Wow, I've never actually cracked a disc. It's always felt like I was going to, but...
Yeah, so I had to buy a separate copy of it. But yeah, that's stacked. That feels like it's... I don't want to shit on your gift here, but that feels like it's a recipe for scratching the discs. Because if you get one piece of dirt in that stack somewhere, it's just gonna get all the weight of the others on top of it. And when the discs shift, you could just scratch.
Blu-rays don't scratch quite as easily as DVDs.
Certainly not as easily as DVDs. No.
Yeah, so that was like a big selling point of like Blu-rays, was like, hey, look at this, and then they would like did a test where they were like rubbing it against concrete, and it still was fine. So
right, but you still don't want it to be scratched though. Right.
No, I mean that still sucks. Yes, but yeah, at least they're a little bit more durable.
Yeah,
but
that's for sure. Yeah, no, back in the day, DVDs used to come in stack packs occasionally. In fact, I think my Moribito DVD collection that we were talking about earlier might be one of those still. Where it's a big, thick DVD case, and you just got one big pillar in the middle with all the discs on top, which is garbage.
it makes me feel so. It gives me so much anxiety.
Yeah, you pretty much have to like, turn it over, let gravity take the discs all to the top of the little spindle, and then take each one off while it's in that position so that you don't have to bend it. It's bad.
Yeah, I think my favorite and probably the best ones, as long as their structural integrity isn't called into question or compromised, are the kind that are like books, and they just flip like pages of a book, and it's just a disc on either side of the page.
Digipacks.
Yeah, like my all my Star Trek releases are that way. Of all the TV shows, they're just in big digipacks like that.
Yeah, I love digipacks. They're definitely probably my favorite release style as well.
Yeah, and then digibooks are at the bottom. Because those just scratch the shit out of stuff too if you're not careful, or it's hard to get the disc out, like period, because it's so tight in there. The Alfred Hitchcock 4K collection has that problem. You can't get the disc out.
Yeah, the Dragon Ball Z 30th anniversary Blu-ray collection that they put out for like their Kickstarter thing last year, which is, I assume, the original source of the discs that they're releasing on Steelbooks now. Those were all in those stupid envelopes, and they were like glued in. So you have to like destroy the whole thing just to get the discs out. Oh man, people figure out packaging already.
Yeah. So this is a big. This must be a pretty big Steelbook then. Like, pretty thick. I would think. I don't know how many discs come in this set, but I'm used to seeing Steelbooks just house like maybe one disc on each side, 3 discs, maybe 4, 2 on each side of the cover.
Right, that's the thing. Like, a Steelbook is a Steelbook. As far as I know, you don't get any thicker than the standard thickness. So it's just a Steelbook, but it's got 4 discs stacked on top of each other. It's that packaging style is big enough to support that. The other thing I didn't mention about it, it has like a nice transparent slipcase over the top of it.
Ooh,
where like
those are nice.
The Steelbook itself just has the straight artwork, and then you get all like the logos and text and stuff on the slipcover. So that's nice as well.
Yeah, those I love when you get like a good slipcover, like the Ghost in the Shell. Steelbook has a really nice one. The Evil Dead 4K has a really nice one too, that has like bonus art on the slipcover and everything. Plus, it protects the actual Steelbook itself, which is always nice.
Exactly.
Says that was the second time you've brought up Evil Dead. You know, there's a new game coming out.
Yeah, I saw the trailer yesterday,
Okay.
and I know there's like a new movie coming out too. It doesn't have Ash in it, but yeah. So outside of the stacking issue, that does sound pretty dope. Like, I love Steelbooks and everything, and to get everything kind of in there would be really nice. How much did you say it was?
Ooh, I did not say how much it was. I don't even know if it's on sale. I will check Right Stuff and Sentai Shop. Someone else go.
I can go.
Sure, go.
Cool. So it's actually not out yet, but one of the things I'm gonna buy for my brother actually is the Lupin III, the first Steelbook from Shout Factory, which is really cool. It's another one that has like really nice artwork on the Steelbook. I think it comes with a nice slipcover too, and I've heard nothing but good things about the movie, especially for its like first foray into like that 3D CGI. But I guess it really still retains the character, and of course, if you like the English dubs, it has at least my personal favorite cast. For everyone, it's the same cast from like Part 2, as well as I don't know about Part 3, but I know in the newest ones as well.
Part 3 was never licensed.
Oh, well then never mind. So that's why they wouldn't have it. So Part 2 and then the newest ones, which is what, 4 and 5. I think we've gotten those over here. But I would definitely recommend that, especially if you order it now. I think it's coming out in January, like early January, so it's not like I'm telling you to pre-order something and wait until March. It's gonna come out, just a few weeks into the new year, and if you get it from Shout Factory as well, you get a cool poster, which is really nice. So you can kind of have a nice little poster, sort of like what they did with Tokyo Godfathers, that I have on the wall in front of me right now. But that I would recommend that. I'm excited to see the movie. The trailer has me pretty hyped, and early reviews and everything are saying that it's a strong entry into the series, and the art style holds up like surprisingly well with CGI. Like the Monkey Punch art style for the most part holds up, and it people don't look weird and distorted and anything like that. It is a callback more to what feels like Castle of Cagliostro, like Part 2-esque kind of fun Lupin, and not so much like Jigen's Gravestone Lupin.
Right.
So I guess it may be different depending on what your taste of Lupin is, like which one you prefer, the more serious Fujiko Mine, Goemon's Bloody Slash, that era, which took on a more serious vibe, or if you like more like Part 2, and parts of Part 4 and 5. That's
why I love Part 5 so much, because it literally gives you Part 1 Lupin, Part 2 Lupin, Part 3 Lupin, Part 4 Lupin.
Yeah, especially that weird episode that they did with like that. What was it? It was like on stage, and it was a machine that went over
that was
your
the Part 3 one.
Yeah, that was super Part 3, like super weird, out of nowhere. But yeah, that's definitely my recommendation. I think it's like $35, between $35 and $40. I can bring it up then, but I actually have it bookmarked on my page. But yeah, if you like nice Steelbooks, this one's definitely the way to go as well, because it has really nice art on it. It's not just like, here's a Steelbook with a random picture of Lupin on the front or something like that. So definitely go with that one, or at the very least just buy the normal one. I think that'll be a good thing for anyone who likes Lupin in particular.
So an update, you can get the Clannad Steelbook collection for about $60 on Sentai Shop right now. And that's about 50 episodes on Blu-ray. Nice Steelbook, nice slipcover. So I recommend it.
Oh, the Steelbook for Lupin is actually $28. So I was off. So it looks like it'll list at $33, and it's on sale for $28.43, which is a really weird number, but that's what they're having the pre-order price at. And yeah, you get the 18x24 lithograph and the cool Steelbook for that price. Plus, if you buy it straight from Shout Factory, you're not giving Jeff Bezos any extra money than he already has, because you can order it through Amazon, and Shout Factory would send it to you. They'd fulfill it. I don't think the Steelbook, but you could get the normal version. So I say order from Shout Factory and support Shout Factory, because they do tons of cool releases of stuff like Lupin and anime and like B movies and horror movies and fun things like that. They're a pretty small outfit for the most part, I think, at least compared to like your big boys. So they do a lot of cool stuff. So check that out.
And that is, just to clarify, a G-Kids license. They work with Shout Factory a lot for their releases.
Yeah, I think, is it exclusive? It seems like they kind of do everything.
Yeah, maybe these days. I'm trying to remember, who do they do the Ghibli ones through? For a while they were working with Cinedigm. I can't remember who they work with for Disney, for Ghibli. Anyway, yeah. Good recommendation.
All right, who's up? Anybody?
Do we wake up DJ?
I can talk about a thing. The question is, do I want to go with the cheapest thing on my list or the most expensive thing on my list?
Go with the highest recommendation.
The highest recommendation. Okay. All right, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say my top recommendation for this holiday season is the Kimi ni Todoke Blu-ray bundle on Right Stuff. You can get the first and second season of the show for $60. It's normally like $110, so you're saving a good amount, and it is by far my favorite shoujo series, and probably a top 10 all-time for me. So that's the big recommendation. It doesn't come with anything special. It's just the show, but it's a good show. There you go.
How many Blu-rays are in the set? Is it a pretty big?
3 Blu-rays. The first season is split into 2, and then there's 1 for the third season. So it's 36 episodes total, I believe. Give or take like 2. Definitely worth it though.
I think I'm trying to remember if what's the English translation of
From Me to You.
Okay, so I've definitely heard of this, not just from you talking about it, but I've heard of it.
36 episodes of cliffhangers, and it's great. It's the most suspenseful shoujo series I've ever seen.
DJ, didn't you say it was just 36 episodes of misunderstanding?
Yes. Yeah. It's every single cliffhanger is just like one character says something, and it's like for an example, like one of the characters will be like, I like you, but then there will be like an inner monologue from the other person, and it's just like, but she means as a friend. And it's so
God.
It's just that this is for an entire show, and it's beautiful.
Not a show for Cain.
Yeah, that is not up my alley. I can appreciate your recommendation, but that would definitely not be for me.
It's
unfortunately.
so good.
Don't buy it for the Cain in your life.
Ooh.
It's like,
man, it's
such a great show too, because even though it's like a shoujo romance series, the focal point is like on like the girls' friendship with each other, like all just like the group of girls, and then like there's a bromance between main guy and some other guy, and so it's a really believable like high school first love show, except for the incessant misunderstandings.
Yeah,
they are very dense
often
characters.
Except for the complete seeming lack of communication between any of the characters.
Japanese romances are different than American ones. Maybe that's just like what they're like.
That has to be, because we've talked about this before. Because that's how their J-dramas are too.
Yeah, they just no one ever like thinks the other person has feelings,
or that everything has some type of like hideous like undertone to it. That doesn't mean what they say. Yeah, an ulterior motive to everything that they say at all times.
Yep. It's wonderful. This show makes me, it's, like, I feel so warm when I watch it, and I, like, feel human, and that never happens. So.
I do like the art style. Like,
it's really
I'm
bright.
I'm looking at, like, just Google images of the anime, and I do like the art style that you see for some reason. I don't really know what it is, but it does draw me in.
It's just a really comfy show. And the music's great too. And it's really funny. I have nothing bad to say about Kimi ni Todoke. It's just an all-around good show.
Well, excellent. I'd say that's a good recommendation then if DJ can't say anything bad about it.
Yeah, I intentionally look for bad things to say about things. Yeah, so that's the number one recommendation. I guess since that was kind of
also
on the
the
shorter
most
side
expensive
compared to like the other recommendations we have, I'll go ahead and recommend, because that was the most expensive. I guess it's tied for it. So I'll recommend the cheapest thing on my list as well is a series called Kokoro Connect. You can get all 13 episodes plus 4 OVAs for less than $10 on Blu-ray. And that is the lowest I've ever seen this show go. Retail price is still $70, so jump on that. It's weird, but it's
Cain
awesome.
Deal right there.
What's up?
That's a solid Cain deal right there.
That is. That'd be something I would think about buying, even if I had no interest in the show whatsoever.
I've done that. I have,
and I just wanted something to go on my Blu-ray shelf.
I bought like 5 copies of AKB 0048 when it was $5 because I was like, yo, that's such a good deal. I just need to buy like more copies of this.
just in case they go up in value.
Yeah, I didn't even like that show.
It's an investment at that point.
Yeah, it was like, yo, because in my head I was like, I could just resell them, and I never even tried.
I feel like your profit margin wouldn't be super great there.
No, but it was only $25 at the end of the day, so whatever.
That's true. There are riskier ways to lose money than trying to buy anime Blu-rays to then resell them.
Yeah. It's a mild scheme. But yeah, Kokoro Connect's awesome. I look for chances to talk about this show. I talk about it all the time. So, you should get that. Or if you don't want it, there's probably a manga bundle on Right Stuff as well, because there is a manga version of that, and it is equally as good.
Nice. Well, I think DJ basically won for like the best deal for someone you're shopping for anime, as long as they like that show or have a chance to like that show. Because man, if they don't like it, well, you only spent like $10 on that person, so fuck them.
Yeah. They won't even know either. Like, they'll see anime Blu-ray and be like, wow, thank you.
Well, as long as they don't look it up.
Yeah, but even if they look it up, the deal will probably be over by then.
Right,
so it's
exactly.
like, wow, this is a $70 Blu-ray.
Damn, that's actually a smooth move right there to make it look like you spent way more on the person than
you could even wait until like the sale is over to like just really hammer it home that you spent more money on them than you want them to think.
This is devious, but it would be something I would do. So I don't know what that says about me. Then again, the motto in my family, well, not my biological family, but like my in-laws and her family, so my family by law, is never pay retail. So you're actually in the shit if you spent full retail on anything at any time for anybody.
I mean, for anime releases, you'll never spend retail online. Conventions, yeah. Brick and mortar stores, yeah. But online, no chance.
Well, you'll never spend full retail at conventions if you go to Big Anime Man.
Well, yeah, maybe Big Anime Man, but if you go to the actual companies that put it out, they charge retail at conventions.
Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely. All right, Kate, do you have anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right Stuff has a good bundle deal on probably one of the best new-ish manga of the last several years, which is Witch Hat Atelier. And they have a bundle of the first 3 books and then the next 3 books. So that is my suggestion. The artist is really, really good, and she does these really like detailed, like pen and ink-esque style illustrations. She is one of the few mangaka that I know of that regularly has done work for like the American comic book publishers. Like she's done like, you know, alternate covers and stuff like that for a bunch of different things. I think she did alternate covers for Squirrel Girl a couple of times or something. So it's wild to see like, you know, her drawings of like Marvel characters, and then you have like her little anime story about witches and sorcery and drawing spells and mysterious places. It's just another really like cool fantasy series that's just straight fantasy about like a young girl learning how to be a like use magic. It's one of those. It's a really well done one of those. And I like those interesting fantasy series that aren't isekai, because holy crap, there's so much isekai.
That there is. That's cool that she's done work for like American comic publishers, though. That does feel something that's relatively rare to see over here is like guest covers from mangaka in particular. You don't see it super often.
Yeah, and that was before she had like this, like when this series came out, it was a hit almost right away. But like she was like kind of she didn't have anything like super popular before this new series that she started. So it's kind of like Q Hayashida. She had, you know, she's the Doro artist, and she had done a bunch of work for like American, same thing. Like I have an Ant-Man that she did the cover work for, you know, like the cover for, an alternate cover for, and yeah. So it's always interesting to see like, I wonder how they got involved in, you know, in this stuff. And it was probably just through, you know, drawing fan art or something, and then they like, hey, you're awesome, we'll commission you, and they're probably like, sure.
Money, baby.
But yeah,
exposure. Yeah, it also, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but it also feels like it's more conducive to have a mangaka do American characters than the other way around, because I saw that Naruto movie bundle.
Oh my god!
And Naruto looks like a fat little kid from gym class or some shit, and I was like, holy shit, I don't like this at all. So it does feel like it's easier to make an American comic book character into a manga or an anime style character than vice versa to try and Americanize an anime character. Now granted, I haven't seen many attempts at it, but I do know the one that was burned into my brain was seeing that Naruto movie cover with like chubby Naruto with those very pinchable cheeks. They're so pinchable.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, and I remember reading it was like, I can't remember the name of the artist, but it said like legendary before that. Mm-hmm. So they're whoever did it is very well received over here for their comic book art, and I'm like, man, does it all look like this? so I couldn't tell. So maybe it just depends on the character, like the character type. Like it might be easier to Americanize or Westernize, I guess would be more accurate. Just like a normal looking person from a manga or an anime, just turn that nobody who has like very genre or style specific traits and things like that. But who knows? It just, to me, it seems like it's easier to do that transformation rather than the opposite way around. So that's
it's
cool.
funny. It's just a really weird style thing, you know. It's like probably they're like, put your own spin on this, and they're like, okay, and then they probably try to do it in their style or try to who knows what they tried to do. I'd have to see the illustrations, know who the artist was, to be like, oh, that's, you know, whatever. But
well, I'd say that's a good recommendation as well. I have seen that property around, and it always, like, I did like the art style, though. You know, I will admit that I was kind of like, oh, another like fantasy witch show and stuff, and kind of passed it up. But if it is actually done really well, I'll have to check it out sometime if it's like a really, you know, well done example of that, you know, sort of subgenre. So I'll have to bookmark that, I think, and check it out, because I mean I do like witches and magic in particular. Just sometimes it is a little easy to get burnout of that kind of stuff, and yeah, isekais and things like that, and you eventually just kind of start looking at all of them like they're gonna be crap until you're told otherwise.
Yes. So yeah, this is, if you like really good fantasy artwork, definitely check it out.
Cool. Well, you want to cycle back around to Kestrel for the next one on your list?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Next one on my list is another one of my favorite anime, Your Name, specifically my favorite anime movie. And that is another Steelbook. It was released originally in America in 2017, and it got a nice collector's edition then. But it sold out pretty quickly. So if you didn't get that at the time, or if you're me and you did, and also imported the Japanese 4K collector's edition, but still want every nice release of the movie you can get, then this Steelbook is a good new option for you. You know, it's got the very iconic couple pieces of Your Name artwork on the back and front of it. It's got all the same extras that the previous releases have had, which is a pretty good collection of extras there. Some of them are from the Japanese release, some of them are originally made for this American release. So certainly if you do not own Your Name, this is the best way you can buy it right now in America. And you can get it for about $30 just about everywhere. Best Buy has it for $28. So check that out.
Cool.
Yeah, part of me during these holiday sales, like, I don't really buy like anime and otaku stuff for other people, just because no one's really as into it, and I don't even consider myself super into it as compared to like Kestrel and DJ and stuff, but I'm always torn between buying all this stuff on sale and then like my wallet telling me to not buy the things, because even on sale it's hard for me not to compare like how much like American or Western like movies and TV series are on Blu-ray compared to anime. It's like you could get so much more bang for your buck buying this, but then it's like, no, it's a totally separate medium and you can't compare them. You need to stop, because there's so much stuff that I'd like to own and things, but then the demon in my wallet or whatever is always like, no, don't wait until it comes up on eBay in shitty shape and then you can buy it for a great deal. Or some horseshit, like wait until it comes up and the chipboard box is smashed in on a corner. You can always hide that corner in the back of the shelf. But
well,
I'll end up making...
Cain, I'm giving lots of things away, so if you want any of the stuff I'm giving away... Then...
I have taken several things from you.
Yeah, well, I got piles more.
Well, I'm going to have to see a list, and maybe I'll have to accept more things. But yeah, I can go next. This gift on my list secondly is a little more unorthodox. I know we do a lot of Blu-ray stuff, But I think this gift is a lot of fun for someone in your life who doesn't even necessarily have to be an otaku because of what it is. But if they do like building models, I think a great cheap gift is the Cup Noodle Bandai Spirits 1-to-1 model kit. Is amazing. It is $26 and you get a Gunpla style model kit that just turns into a steaming cup of ramen fucking noodles. And it's amazing. I'd seen it before and I thought about it, but now I'm looking at it, I'm like, this thing is just incredible. The ramen and the vegetables and the shrimp is just a block that goes into the bottom of the cup. So I think it'd be a really fun gift for, the person in your life who likes building models regardless of being, someone who's into Japanese culture, because cup ramen is universal. Like we were just talking about it. A lot of college kids survive on cup ramen regardless of whether or not they can tell, Satoshi Kon from Hayao Miyazaki or whatever. So I think, for $26, and that's full price, is $26 for this model. This isn't like a super sale. This is like a cheap gift that they can put together in like 30 minutes and have a fun little conversation piece when people come over, like, oh, this is my Gunplas for, Hyakushiki, this is my M1 Abrams tank model, and this is my cup noodle. Like, I think it's a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend it. Unfortunately, it is out of stock on Right Stuff right now, if that's where you're looking primarily. I haven't looked anywhere else. But it does say expecting more, so it's not like they're out of stock and the model isn't being made anymore. I typically don't really see that happen to Gunpla models in particular, is out of stock and then you never see them again. You can still find like old Verka, like version Ka like Gunpla models that were created on a totally different framework back in like 2010. You can still see those being produced and sold. So unless it's like a super duper special edition, like the kind that come in the giant boxes and cost like $600, for the most part, you'll never see it go out of stock, especially because it's cheaper. So I'm sure they sell a lot because it is fun and sort of like a gag gift and something that's definitely more memorable than usual. So I would wholeheartedly recommend the 1-1 scale cup ramen Gunpla kit as a gift for not only an otaku in your life, but just anybody who likes funny things or ramen in particular. And it's probably a good first model too, even if you wanted someone to maybe start picking up Gunpla models, because I have a couple friends who keep talking about how they'd love to do Gunpla models and would love to do model building in particular, but it looks like it takes a long time, or it's really difficult, or complicated. Well, building a cup of noodles is not hard. It looks like it's maybe 20 pieces, so this would definitely be one to kind of maybe get them into it, and then you can start bumping up to those master grades and those perfect grades that are like 60,000 pieces with 3 different kinds of decals to put on your stickers, your water slides, and your cutout decals. I mean, it's a slippery slope, I'm not gonna lie. Nobody takes, for the most part, you don't stick your toe into Gunpla. You buy one cheap model and then you realize, I like doing this, and then all of a sudden you're buying $100 models. That's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, Cup Noodle Bandai Spirits 1-1 model kit. I recommend that as my second gift.
The slipperiest slope.
It really, really is. It really is. I have up on my display case right now, not even all my models, and I have at least a dozen. And then you can do all sorts of shit to them eventually. Like, you can do kit bashing, where you combine 2 models together to make, like, some horrific hybrid Gundam. You can repaint them, sand them, put different finishes on, like gloss or satin, and then you can do battle damage to make them look like they've been in, space battles. Like, it's insane what people can do with these little plastic kits. Even the cheaper ones that are just high grade, where for the most part there's not a whole lot of articulation or not a lot of complicated, bits and pieces, but they'll still put together just absolutely incredible looking models and dioramas and things. So yes, it is very much so a slippery slope. But one that I and everyone I know that does it definitely enjoys. Because you do get to make something, which is always cool, and at the end of the day, you have a product for your labors, even if it is a 1-1 cup of noodles. So, yeah, buy the cup noodles. DJ and Kate, do you have anything else?
I've got one that
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, it's less weeby than my previous recommendation, but it's topical because it's something that just came out, and it's Cyberpunk 2077. And
as long as you don't own a base PlayStation.
As long as you don't own a base PlayStation 4. If you have a PC
or anything else, I heard the glitches and bugs in that game are pretty bad.
Oh, there are tons of them, but like it doesn't really ruin the game. Like it's when you go into Skyrim, you expect bugs, and the bugs oftentimes make things more fun. And they're not game breaking or anything like that, but there are definitely a lot of bugs that need to be ironed out. They have not ruined the experience so far for me. I played I've been really busy, so I only had a chance to play for like 3 hours. But they were 3 very enjoyable hours. And my favorite bug, which I think makes the game even better, is for the entire first mission, the character that sort of follows you around as your companion had an invisible pistol and just shot everybody with finger guns. And
that's what I heard was one of the major glitches that everybody was having, was that there were just no guns and that everybody just had
wonderful.
Finger guns.
I liked the mission even more, seeing a really fucking ripped dude just walk around and shoot people with finger guns. Game of the year. No, it's got a crazy huge world, and there's a load of shit to do, and it seems like the game does dynamically change a lot based on my 3 hours of play. It could slow down towards the end, but the fact that you can choose your character's backstory really changes the dialogue and the way characters speak, and so that's cool. And it's smooth, apart from the driving, which is not good. If you like big RPGs, though, definitely get it. It's cool. So yeah.
Yeah, my brother has it.
Then maybe not get it.
Or you are prone to seizures.
Yeah, that too. Oh my god, I heard about that too. Oh my god. Yeah, if you're transgender or prone to seizures, do not get that game.
What's trans or anti-transy about it?
I guess there's a couple missions that come up that are basically not good.
It's weird. It like literally lets you choose.
I don't
want to
get into it because you're playing the game. I don't want to spoil anything. It might be a quest spoiler. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it might be a reach. It seems pretty trans friendly. Like you can put male genitalia on female characters and choose your pronoun and all that stuff.
Yeah, but then I guess there's a mission somebody sends you on to go find somebody's dead name so that they can something. I don't know.
So there's an anti-trans character in the game, and so because of that, the game is also anti-trans? Is that what's happening?
I'm not a person who has gone over the material, but reviewers have, and they're like, some of the stuff's not so great, guys.
That seems like a reach.
Yeah, that's actually, I think, even though I'm sorry I talked over you, DJ, I think we were basically saying the same thing. It's like, is it sourced? Is it because something in the source tabletop RPG may have not been super great, and then
yeah, but that could, that still carries over. That it's like, but yeah, the seizure thing's bad. So if you're prone to seizures, maybe not.
It gives you a warning though.
So yeah, it gives you a warning. It's like in your normal company, be like, oh yeah, that bad. We'll take that out. They're just like,
yeah, put a warning in. My game's the same way. It's there's a huge fucking warning in it. It's like, yo, if you can have seizures, don't play it. Sorry.
What do you do in your game that causes
It's a psychological horror game. There's some flash and shit.
Brother.
There's a lot of club scenes.
You will literally go blind and not be able to see for the rest of your life after one scene in this.
Oh.
Totally worth it.
Yeah. So, Cyberpunk, good game.
Anyway.
Good
game. Some issues.
Lots of issues.
I don't know.
They probably could have delayed it for like a 20th time. But it's like, it's so big that there were gonna be bugs no matter what. You let them fly at one point. I'm just glad I got to fucking play the game finally. It's been over
yeah,
10 years, so.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna wait. My brother got it day one, but even he says he's like, I'm gonna wait. Like I have it installed and ready to play, but I don't. He's like, I'm gonna wait until we maybe see at least a couple patches.
Yeah, like they're fixing stuff pretty quickly, but there's just so much shit to fix that it might take a little while.
It's open world games are buggy, but even there's buggy and then there's buggy. we are Bethesda levels of buggy. Yeah.
But that's part of the charm for Bethesda games. Like, Skyrim still has loads of bugs, and it's been out for like 50 years and released on 800 different consoles.
Oh, God. Yeah, that feels like they should have fixed
They
that
don't even
shit,
care.
but whatever.
It's just like, yeah, whatever.
No, they don't. They don't need to. That game prints money. Why do they care? They don't. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. There's a million other games out right now that are also good.
Yeah, so
it's okay
it's
to
not
wait.
gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna kill anybody. Just like getting the new consoles. I don't think you're gonna die if you don't get one day one. Especially the Xbox, which doesn't.
Especially
really
since
have...
they only made like 20 of each console.
Oh God, yeah. No one's gonna see those consoles for a while. I have a coworker who's like, I need to get one for my
How
boyfriend.
the
I'm like,
fuck
yeah,
did this
good luck
even
with that.
happen? Like this was not a thing when PS4 came out.
It was when Switch came out.
There's always shortages when consoles are released.
Yeah, this is just
Almost
magnified
always.
because pandemic as
Yeah.
well.
Oh yeah, the pandemic is probably a big part of it. It's just like I've never had this much trouble purchasing anything before. So it's weird for me.
Well,
You're like, I don't understand how scarcity works.
Just take my money. Like, why can't you even pre-order it? Like, well, I mean, it's not a pre-order at this point anymore, but they like shut off getting
Because,
money early.
I don't know. So, yeah, that's true. I mean, reservations. Rain check this for
so
me. No.
Weird.
Well, I think between this and any new graphics card, like any of the new ones from AMD or Nvidia, it's basically like good fucking luck getting one of them unless you follow like all those Twitter bots and stuff and have 60 tabs open at all times. Ready to jump and try and complete a purchase within the first 15 seconds before it gets bought up by a bunch of bots. So
yeah, it's like God. It's like essentially everything has become trying to buy concert tickets. This is not the future we asked for.
No, this really fucking isn't.
It applies to everything except concert tickets because concerts don't exist anymore.
Yeah, I know. That's like the worst. Oh, this fucking year.
I know.
Ugh.
I know. But good recommendation anyway, DJ. I'm sure it's a lot. I'm sure the game is fun.
It's definitely fun.
Just you gotta.
It's just you will not be receiving a perfect game. Keep that in mind.
Well, it fell hard with the hype train too. Like it was never gonna live up to how much hype it was generating. And
there was no way.
Like,
it's
no, especially when they made a copy, when they had to basically port it, down.
Destiny was the
PS4.
same way. It's like the game was
Destiny
talked
was
up for such a long time that it needs to be the actual greatest game ever to even break even with the hype. And so it's at a natural disadvantage. But CDPR has never really screwed over fans before. So eventually we will have a very, very good game in Cyberpunk, but right now it's just a very good game.
Is this the first thing they've ever done other than The Witcher?
No, they've been around for a while, since the 90s.
Oh, really? What other games?
Oh, man.
Eurojank shit from a million years ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I want to say like one-off fantasy RPGs for like DOS.
This
in like 98 and Windows 98, like old stuff like that. The Witcher was definitely like when they hit it big. And not even right away, because the first Witcher game, if you go back and play it now, is not very good.
It's bad.
Cyberpunk
the combat system blows.
Like this is a sequel to Cyberpunk 2020, which came out in 1990. So.
Well, yeah, but you're talking about CD Projekt Red video games, which that's
true. Yeah.
Right. That's what I was saying. Has this company in particular made any other notable video games other than The Witcher?
Not in modern era, I don't believe. But I mean, they've basically, because they're a really small studio, or at least they were. I don't know how big they are now.
Witcher 3, and then they like blew up. So now they're huge.
Yeah, so up until Witcher 3, they were a very small outfit, so they could really only work on one thing at a time.
They've made it really apparent that they care about their players, though. Like, Witcher 3 got free DLC updates for its entire runtime, so...
And those DLC bits were like... And the expansion DLCs were like whole games.
Yep, they were longer than other AAA games that were coming out. It's... They definitely put a lot of work into their stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fortunate and unfortunate.
Oh, yeah, that's what... They were mostly known for localizations into like Polish and shit before they did The Witcher. So they ported and localized like Baldur's Gate and stuff like that.
I forget which YouTube channel it is, but I watched like a 4-hour documentary that someone did on them as a studio, and it was really good. And so I want to recommend that, but I can't remember who did it, so never mind.
No Clip?
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been. It was like a 4-part documentary.
I think it was No Clip. Danny does a lot of those things, so.
Right. Well, good recommendation. We should probably move on to at least one more round if we can fit one in.
Kate hasn't gone this round, has she?
Yeah. Yeah. So we need to move on to Kate if you have anything. Spotlight's on you now. I mean, it's okay if you don't. Don't like frantically Google for something.
Yeah, I've got 20 things. So.
Yeah, and I have one more. So between Kestrel's 20 other things and my one more, we'll be okay. So don't.
I haven't been buying much this year, so just keep going.
Okay.
So
Kestrel,
I guess it's my turn now.
Indeed.
Yeah. So next up on my list we have Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2 Blu-ray DVD Limited Edition. You've been hearing me talk about this chunk of Attack on Titan for the past year and a half. It is by far the best of the series. Its follow-up, the final season, just started this week, and I am reviewing that. But it's unlikely that anything will top this chunk of episodes, which have some of the best episodes of any anime series. And this limited edition is like the previous releases of the series. It comes in like a book style release, but it's basically just a digipack, like a hard digipack with pages in the middle for like, ancillary material. And then it also comes with a much thicker book that has a ton of content that, you'd expect, all the behind the scenes interviews, production, artwork, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot that comes in that. And I think the first part of season 3 came with the big chipboard art box, and this fits in that. It all looks great. You can get it on, I think Right Stuff will give you a Armin keychain with it, and Funimation will give you a Mikasa keychain with it. I got it from
tough choice
from Right Stuff, and this particular part of this season made Armin my favorite character in the series, so I went with the Right Stuff one, and that is my keychain currently. Unfortunately, this is also unavailable at the moment on Right Stuff, but if you can get it, it's only about $45 on there. So that's my next recommendation.
How many episode 13? Since it's a part of a...
Yeah, it's a little less than 13 on this one. It's like 11 or 12.
Gotcha. Nice. I'm hoping, because, man, I haven't watched Attack on Titan in a long time. I mean, I could just go out and go watch it. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of hoping they do, like, an omnibus set.
Oh, eventually, when the whole series is over, for sure.
Yeah. Because I would buy that, for sure. Just kind of like how... and I think they have one, or they're releasing one. It may have even been out for a while, but I haven't been keeping track. But, like, the Hellsing Ultimate, I think, got, like, an omnibus-style release, so I didn't have to buy, all those individual sets, since it took so long to get 9 and 10, or 8, 9, and 10, whatever that last set was. So I think I'm still going to hold out until I can get, like, a full, cool Attack on Titan box set of some type.
Yeah, Funimation isn't great about going back and doing, like, premium complete collections after the series has ended. Usually, the first release of each section gets the nice edition, and then it's just kind of like bare bones re-releases. But I would really love for them to go back once the series wraps up, presumably sometime next year, and do like a really high quality complete collection.
I would
definitely
hope
rebuy it on that. It's just Funimation really never does it. I know, like, for American TV shows, pretty much everyone I buy, I wait for the series to be done, and they usually have some fancy collector's edition of the entire series that I get. So yeah, hopefully it's a big enough series that it will warrant it. Either way, though, I highly recommend you catching up on the series streaming.
Yeah, I think so as well. I would hope that they would do something for Attack on Titan just because of how much of a phenomenon it was. Like, it isn't just some long-running anime that was well received within the anime community. It like took over the United States at one point, to where you were seeing that shit everywhere. You couldn't, pass a Hot Topic without seeing like a million fucking Attack on Titan things in the display windows, and you were seeing, people with Attack on Titan badges and patches on their backpacks and wearing Attack on Titan hoodies and all like sorts of shit. So it wasn't just an anime thing. It was like a cultural zeitgeist thing for a while, just like My Hero Academia is currently, which is there's stuff everywhere. Like I see My Hero merchandise at fucking, man, I don't know if this is regional, but there's a store called Ollie's, which is just like a weird pseudo dollar store chain, which is they just buy like buyouts of everything. But there's My Hero stuff in there, and Ollie's mostly sells like carpets and old Guinness Believe It or Nots. But there's My Hero shit in there.
Wait, did you just combine the Guinness Book of World Records and Ripley's Believe It or Not?
I did, yeah, didn't I? Man, well, I mean, it's the same thing. It's just nice. It's just people doing weird stuff for
it's true.
For fame and recognition. But yeah, I would hope that they would do something like a cool box set, or at the very least, if they do like a full set, at least give it like a cool like slip cover digipack sort of thing. Don't just give me like a blue case with a non-reversible art in it or something. Right.
Yeah, I think it has a better chance than most because it's a big deal. It's kind of like some of the closest anime has gotten to not only like big amongst that crowd, but like for anime drama or for Western drama audience, I feel like it kind of scratches that itch pretty well as well. For an older audience than maybe like the My Hero fan base or something. So yeah, I hope that will warrant it, and the fact that it will end up being only like, I don't know, certainly less than 100 episodes, means it has a better chance of a complete collection than a lot of these series.
Indeed, so we can hope, but yeah, I really need to catch up on it, especially seeing how how much better it's gotten, or at least how high the standard of quality has generally maintained.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, if we have time, I have one more thing that released this year that I'd like to recommend. It is one of my favorite manga of all time, and that is the Omnibus edition of My Brother's Husband, which released February of this year, which feels like a millennia ago, but it released. I mean, granted, the original My Brother's Husband is just 2 volumes, so it's not like it's condensing like that weird Death Note all-in-one edition. Jeez. But it is an omnibus edition, so you can just have one book. I really, really liked it. It won an Eisner Award. It's written and art by Gengoro Tagame, who this is in his wheelhouse, but not at the same time, if you know what the other stuff that Gengoro Tagame has done. But it's just a really nice story about like LGBT acceptance in Japan and how that's coming, and how you shouldn't judge people by what you've been grown with, and accepting and loving unconditionally, and getting to know different perspectives on life by just talking and being with people rather than just assuming something about them based off of what you've been taught or told or what society tells you to think. And it's really enjoyable. Anderson Cooper liked it, so I mean, come on, Anderson Cooper's great. Who doesn't like Anderson? Who doesn't like Anderson Cooper?
I hope the back cover just has a pull quote that just says, "I liked it, Anderson Cooper."
The first book did have a pull quote Cooper. From Anderson Cooper on the back.
Nice.
But
That's
it didn't say "I liked it." If you could distill it down to that, but it was something much more profound.
Right, of course.
But Anderson Cooper did have a quote on the back of how much he enjoyed reading it and what he thinks it does to, increase positive, thoughts and reactions towards the LGBT community in Japan in general. But I really like it. I think it's a story that anybody could enjoy, not just people who are into manga. It does read like a manga, so it is set up in that way. But I don't know. I really was I gravitated towards the story and the kind of trip that the main characters go through in handling their grief and acceptance of grief, and then basically loving your estranged. I don't know if it's estranged. I guess like your widower brother-in-law for who he is, because that's what the story is about. I can't remember the character names anymore, but essentially it's a family in Japan that one of the sons moved away to Canada and married a man over there, and he dies. And then the brother's husband, the title of the manga, comes over to Japan to visit the brother and his daughter, and then wants to go see all of the places that his husband told him about while he was still alive. And so it's just, it's a light read while also having a lot of relatively deep, profound things about that kind of stuff. Like, it isn't gonna be like a thesis or anything like that, but yeah, it's really enjoyable and really good to read, and it doesn't take very long either, so you can knock it out in a couple nights or a week depending on how fast you read. But yeah, it's like $23 on Right Stuff for the Omnibus, and it retails for $30, so you're not even dropping that much if you happen to spend retail on it at like a Barnes & Noble, because I know they carry it there. And Barnes & Noble tends to charge full price for a lot of manga stuff most of the time. You don't see a lot of sales for that unless it's like the dregs of manga. But yeah, I think it's a good buy for the holidays, or just a good buy, period, for what it is. So yeah, My Brother's Husband, the manga omnibus edition.
Something that's a little farther down my list, probably won't get to it, but it's called Koi Monogatari, Love Stories, and it's another manga that, based on what you just said, I think you'd probably enjoy checking out. It's, a high school setting, but it's a much more sincere and nuanced look at like homosexuality and how it's dealt with in Japan than your typical like yaoi title.
Yeah, this does the same thing, because it's mainly the new season of Queer Eye, maybe not the newest, but one of the two newest, went to Japan, and a overarching theme of every person that they talked to was, Japan is still, a lot of people are in the closet. It is not really acceptable or safe necessarily to come out. And that's what this manga, that's what My Brother's Husband deals with too, like this still closeted community. Because I think at one point in the story, they encounter a young boy, like a younger boy, like a teenager or so, that turns out to be gay, and feels all of these like very conflicted feelings because of the acceptance over there just isn't where it is compared to the United States. As weird as that is to say, depending on where you happen to live currently. In the United States. But yeah, I'll have to could you type that in the Discord so I can look at that? But yeah, I think My Brother's Husband is just a really good, like, truthful, like, it doesn't feel like it's pandering or anything like that. Like, it's
right, exactly,
it's heartfelt. So give that a shot.
That's a very good recommendation.
Yeah, I actually found it by almost complete accident when I found the first volume. I think I was just browsing through, I think it was at my library of all places, just going through, because they blend the manga and the graphic novels together.
Yeah.
And I picked it up because I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. And, it had all these glowing reviews on the back from people who you would never see review manga of any type whatsoever. So I thought it was worth a shot, and it was, it really, really was. It really was. So that's all I got. So I don't know if we wanted to do one more or where we wanted to go with it, but I am tapped out with my 3 recommendations.
That's 2 more than I had.
Boom. But
that's just because, the whole being unemployed thing during pandemic. I was not spending a lot. I'm very behind on things that I should have been reading this year.
To be fair, outside of buying a home, I've been employed throughout this entire pandemic, and I haven't been spending a lot of money either. So you were not alone there. So I can understand why you wouldn't have a lot of recommendations, because even myself and my wife, who have been employed, haven't really been doing any lavish spending as of late. So. All right, DJ, do you have anything else, or
final recommendations?
Are we done?
I've got one. We can keep riding the LGBT train, and I can recommend the Bloom Into You premium box set on Right Stuff for $60. I have it. It's good, and it's one of my favorite shows in recent years. And I don't really have. I've talked really about it like 6 million times, so there's no point talking more about it. There's a cool recipe for cheesecake that comes with the limited edition set, so you can.
Oh, hell yeah!
That's a thing that doesn't normally come with Blu-rays.
That is definitely one of the more interesting add-ins.
Yeah, I haven't made it.
It's pretty quirky about this.
It looked good in the show.
Nice. Well, that's one more, and yeah, Bloom Into You is really good as well. I agree. So I could also recommend that pretty easily as well. It didn't get super far into the manga though, did it?
Actually,
it got decently far. It's not done. I'm 95% sure it's getting another season though.
The final volume of the manga finally shipped to me. I'm surprised it's not here yet, but it's on its way. And I've read up to the final volume, and they definitely covered more than half of the entire series in the anime.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it gets another season. I know that the production style of anime is weird, and that even a very successful show could take years just because of the way that, merry-go-round kind of works.
Yeah, it depends on their metric of success, which isn't always the same or known for any given property.
Right, just like Netflix.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I personally don't really have any final recommendations, considering I've done nothing but, outside of the news, recommend things. And one of them is something I would have used as a final recommendation anyway, since it hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah, I guess I can lightning around a few of the rest of my list of best releases of the year, and then I'll give some recommendations on upcoming stuff. So a few other of my top choices: Spirited Away Steelbook. If you didn't get the collector's edition, or you just want to spend a little less and get a nice release and get a nice stark image of No Face on a red background, get that. Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 complete collection, limited edition, Blu-ray, DVD. Really great second season of that series, and a really nice limited edition from Funimation as well. Again, all the usual nice book worth of content, all the stuff from the Japanese release. Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, both cores are out on Aniplex's limited editions. They're not super cheap, but they're super nice, and they come with 300 songs from the soundtrack, as well as all the other normal, 290. All the other normal extras that you get with those nice box sets. And Promised Neverland Season 1 Blu-ray, also from Aniplex. Also another just high-quality release. No soundtrack on that one, but it's the complete first season that's been out so far. and it's very good. Princess Mononoke also got a Steelbook, same kind of deal. If you're getting those, if you want to collect all the Miyazaki Steelbooks, then they're almost all out now. And then for some manga, I'll just do my top 10 of my top 20. So those were 8 anime releases, and then I'll give you 2 manga series that have gotten their first few volumes this year. The first one is Spy Family, which is easily the best new Jump title in years. It's insanely funny and charming and cute.
So the X is silent here.
Yes, it's always silent.
Not all the time.
We always go over this. If there's an X in between 2 words, it's always silent. If it's at the end, it might be pronounced cross. Anyway, this is Spy Family, I assume. I mean, I've never heard it spoken out loud, but based on the rules, I assume it's silent. Yeah, and it's incredibly well drawn as well. So just an overall really fun, really different kind of shonen manga. And last one is the first 4 volumes of Given have come out. And I liked the anime for that a lot, but it still felt too like this is how you do a yaoi series. And some of the kind of weird fangirl pandering that comes with. The manga feels a lot more sincere and genuine, and like it, can empathize, with actual gay people, like the other series we were talking about. So I'm enjoying that a lot. So those are my top 10 releases of the year. And if anyone else has any other, and I guess I should say, today's mega deal, which will not be today by the time you hear this, on Right Stuff's holiday sale is a Silent Voice Collector's Edition and Makia Collector's Edition, which are 2 excellent collector's editions for 2 excellent films from 11 Arts and Nozomi. So they won't be the mega deals when you hear this, but at the end of every big Right Stuff sale like this, they do all the mega deals again on the last day. So look out for that. Anyone else have any other recommendations outside of the holiday gift guide just for some new or upcoming releases? I got a couple of those.
No, not really. Unfortunately, I haven't really been keeping a lot of track other than the Lupin one. I do have one because it's also by Shout Factory, and that's the Bartender. I think 15th year anniversary collection that's coming out also in January. That's a show that I don't think many people watched, but it's like a kind of classic, people have problems, they go to this really fancy bar, the bartender knows exactly what drink they want and kind of listens to them tell their stories and provides maybe some perspectives or opinions or solutions they never really had thought of. So it's kind of like, is this bartender magic or what's the situation here? It's kind of like Netflix has a series called Tokyo Diner, which is a very similar concept where all these people go to this diner at midnight. It was called
Diner.
Like Tokyo Midnight.
Not Tokyo Diner.
Well, it's called it's just called Tokyo Diner now.
They changed the name of it? 'Cause I've watched that before.
Either that or they re-released it, because my Netflix just says Tokyo Diner, but I remember when I watched it, it was called Midnight Diner.
There are 2 different midnight diners, so maybe Tokyo Diner is a third. Like, there are 2 different midnight diners, but they're the same midnight diner. Like, it's the same setting and everything. Yeah. It's weird. So maybe this is just another extension of everything. That.
Yeah, but either way, it's like the same cast and basically the same story and setup, which is these people go to the diner at midnight and they order like a beer and like pork katsu or something very like comfort food, and then they talk about their problems, and sometimes like little hijinks ensue with the other people sitting at the bar and stuff. So it's kind of comfy and character study-y sometimes and things, and that's what Bartender essentially is too. I mean, if you buy the cool limited edition version, I think you get like some cocktail recipe cards and coasters and other fun like bar cocktail related things. And I want to say this is probably like the only time this has been available over here, or like the first time.
I think you're right.
Or the first time in a long time that that show has been licensed and available over here. So yeah, if you pre-order it from Shout Factory, it'll be $55.98 for now, and then the list price is $70 after that, and I'm not sure if Shout Factory actually goes back to charging like the closer to the MSRP under normal circumstances, but at least as of right now, yeah, they have a little bit of a discount if you buy the if you just pre-order it from them. So yeah, definitely check that out, especially if you kind of like that sort of vibe. This is a good show for that.
All right, I'll give my recommendations for basically this month. So that Spirited Away Steelbook that I mentioned does not, in fact, come out for a couple days. But, if you've gotten the rest of the Steelbooks like I have, you know what to expect. So check that out, especially if you don't own Spirited Away. Also, some releases on their way to me are the Violet Evergarden collector's edition of the series, and then also the first movie, not like the big movie, but the kind of side story movie. Those are all being released. The limited edition, I think, is actually already sold out, so you can find that somewhere. Definitely grab it. I think that was the first Funimation limited edition to actually sell out before release in years, quite a few years. So that's exciting to see. Talked about that when they licensed it. It looks like a very nice set. I'm looking forward to mine arriving. And a recommendation, anti-recommendation, is Akira is getting a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray limited edition.
Boo!
But it's not HDR, which is kind of the whole point of getting UHDs, especially for anime, where
Fucking
you're not going to see that much of an increase in quality from the 4K scan. So,
What?
Yeah, I have no idea why
Once
Funimation did this, because the Japanese release certainly has HDR.
That completely deflates it for me for buying it. Like, I'm actively glad I didn't pre-order it, knowing that, because I was always itching to do it. And I was like, well, I'll get paid this Friday, and it's close to release date, and so I know I'm good. I'll buy it. And then once you told me, I was like, fucking glad I didn't do that, because at that point, the 1080p and the 4K will be almost indistinguishable depending on the size of screen you watch it on and the type. Like if you're watching it on like
and how close you are.
Yeah, like depending on your seating condition, you're not going to tell the difference at all.
Right. Yeah. At this point, I don't think there's really any anime that pops in 4K. There are plenty that pop
Cobra.
in HDR.
The Cobra
in
movie
HDR. In HDR, that's what I'm saying. The 4K itself,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, certainly the HDR, like the Shinkai movies as well, they are not native 4K, and it's pretty obvious if you get close to your TV. But the colors, everything about that is pretty mind-blowing. So Akira, don't get it for the great quality increase, but if you want a nice chipboard box and a 40-page book in it, you get that out of it. And it's not going to look any worse than the Blu-rays, probably.
Does it have an Atmos soundtrack or anything?
No.
Oh my god.
I mean, to be fair, I believe Ghost in the Shell is to date the only anime with an Atmos soundtrack.
But I just feel like with how much Akira is about that soundtrack with
the hypersonic soundtrack.
Yeah, that hypersonic horseshit. Whatever, that they would make an Atmos track for it that would equally blow your mind as much as, the other releases have. But, ugh. That's disappointing. Man.
That is a bummer.
Well, maybe I'll pick it up someday when it gets a more standardized release and it's, just to have the 4K version eventually. But yeah, I would definitely scratch it for the premium, unless you like the chipboard boxes and books, and by all means, go for it. But if you're expecting a huge jump in visual quality, this is not going to be it.
Nope.
Oh well.
Oh.
All right. Did you guys have any kind of normal recommendations, Kate and DJ, or should we wrap this up?
No, I'm tapped. My brain has been so focused on literally shopping for other people. I ordered live trees through the mail.
Damn, what?
Yeah.
You can do that?
Yeah.
I just imagine Kate opening her mailbox and just a tree pops out. Like, it just grows out of the mailbox.
Yeah, and it has to hit her in the face comically.
Right. Oh, of course.
Or it hits her, and then she holds onto it, and it, like, sprouts, like, 30 feet in the air out of the mailbox, and she's just at the top of it.
That's some Miyazaki shit.
It definitely is.
I'm just a Looney Tunes character over here.
Or it is.
I ordered...
It's very Looney Tunes, too.
Yeah.
The my nephew, on his Christmas list, he had a bunch of normal things, and then, like, mixed in was, like, in a row, it was, like, a tree, possibly a fruit tree or something, some kind of cool plant. And I'm like, you want a fruit tree? Okay, I'll buy you fruit trees. So I went online and, like tree, or, purchasing tree, and got a website that sells live trees. And I said, ship me a tree. I'm like... And they shipped me a tree in a box. So it arrived in a box, and I pulled it out of the box and set it on a table in the house and watered it and said, okay, now I gotta keep this thing alive for 3 weeks. I don't care if he kills it after he gets it as a present. But I have to keep it alive till then.
Damn. Well, best of luck on that one.
Yeah, it's a clementine tree. It's very small. It's like basically just a 2-foot tall stem with a couple of leaves sticking off of it at the moment, so...
Nice. All right, well, Kate, if you want to wrap it up, then
sure.
Let's do this.
Yeah. Kestrel, where can you find us?
By telling me to wrap it up.
Yep.
So you can find us wherever you find podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Alexa, iHeartRadio, phantompost.com. Send over some money because the countdown is continuing and we may not exist after January. Twitter and Facebook, Phantom Post Radio. Follow us on there, share our stuff, all that good stuff. And you can also contact us via email at phantompostradio@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at FullMetalKilma, and as I mentioned before, I am reviewing Attack on Titan, the final season, so check those out. I wrote several thousand words about the first episode, and I barely talked about the episode. So check that out. There's a lot of background to cover.
Wow.
All right, DJ, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter at DJ No Style. You can find my video game at patreon.com/lessonsinlove. Huge fucking update comes out in 4 days. Please give me money.
Great plug, as always.
You're back over 1,000 followers, I see.
Yeah, I'm at like 1,005 or something. I probably said something mildly funny and gained a few people from that.
Nice.
People are fickle.
Yeah, people are fickle. Plus, it's he'll hold that number till the end of the month, and everybody will skedaddle again.
I was talking about Twitter followers.
Oh, Twitter followers. Yeah, didn't you purge?
I didn't purge anybody. It's like
something.
Every once in a while I'll like say something mildly controversial, and people will leave, and I don't care, and so they just slowly come back.
You can find me on Twitter at SonicBug. I haven't been posting much. I think I was retweeting Muppet stuff earlier.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's what I do.
They got that song back.
What?
The Muppets Christmas Carol. They're doing a 4K remaster of it, and they managed to dig up a song that was only in, I think, the original DVD release. Maybe even the original VHS. It was like a love song between Scrooge and his fiance.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, and they're gonna include it in the new 4K, which is convenient because Emily was looking for a Blu-ray of it for a long time at places, or a place to stream it, and I don't know if it's really hard to find because I haven't been looking, but she's had trouble, and I'm like, well, 4K remaster coming.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now I wish Disney would just front the money to somehow get the rights to Muppet Family Christmas.
I'm not aware of that one.
It was secret best Muppet thing ever. It was the Muppets, Sesame Street, and Fraggle Rock all in the same place.
Fuck.
Yeah, and it's amazing because they all get stuck there. It's stuck at Fozzie's mother's house for like Christmas, and she was gonna rent it out to Doc from Fraggle Rock and take off to Florida, and instead they all kind of crashed the house, and then Sesame Street crew shows up at some point, and then at some point Kermit and his nephew go down to the basement and find Fraggles, and they all sing Christmas songs, and it's amazing.
That sounds dope as hell.
It was really good. Also, I think the reason it hasn't really been released, aside from the fact that 3 different companies now own all those characters, is like music right issues again.
Yeah, that'll get you.
It's like, but it's so good. It's up on YouTube. You can watch it illegally. Go watch it illegally. I will promote piracy in this instance because Disney's cheap and doesn't want to pay for the song rights for that shit. There you go. That's my recommendation. Go pirate.
Go illegally watch a Muppet
Christmas
movie.
Jesus.
That's good.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
That's good. No, I'm okay with that. Yep. And as always, I'm only available here. So if you want to hear my ignorance and dumb takes about anime and what I think about the fandom in particular, you have to listen. Other than that, it ain't happening.
What happens when Sony acquires the rights to you?
To what?
Eventually, Sony is going to acquire the rights to you, as with all things. So then we'll lose our exclusivity.
Oh, I'm assuming by that point I'll be hella rich, so this podcast can go fuck itself. I'll be fucking rich, or I'll be bought out for like $5 and a 20-piece Wendy's nuggets, and that'll be about it.
Wow.
Listen, Emily thinks Wendy's nuggets are better than McDonald's nuggets, and I'm drafting up some divorce papers. So, because that will not stand in this household. Not in a million years.
That's
It's shit. Yeah, you can.
I don't think I've ever had Wendy's nuggets.
I mean, they're
so...
good. Don't get me wrong.
They gave me food poisoning. Not the nuggets, but Wendy's specifically. It was a Baconator that gave me food poisoning.
That's if anything on
Damn.
If anything on that menu is gonna do it, it's gonna be the Baconator.
Yeah, for sure. I grew up basically not eating meat because my mom didn't, and I was super picky anyway. And like the first meat thing that I had was a Wendy's Baconator because my friend was like,
"Holy
try this.
shit!
It's my favorite burger." That was a rough day.
That had to have been.
That's not the way to go, man.
That had to have been a super rough evening and or afternoon or both.
Yes, the rest of the day was rather rough.
What a choice!
Like, meat is poison.
What a choice!
How long did that put you at? How long did that put you off meat after that?
No, I mean, it was late in college, and I started eating everything once I moved out, so...
Oh, okay.
I just naturally didn't eat that much meat in general.
I can't believe you've never shared that before, that your first foray into meat after a childhood of, assuming vegetarianism, was a fucking Baconator.
What do they call it? Pescatarianism? I ate fish. So.
Oh, yeah, so pescatarianism. Yeah.
Pescatarian, yeah.
You are correct.
Yep, that was rough.
That may be one of my favorite stories about your childhood.
No, nobody prepared you for that.
No way. Not a chance in hell.
The only thing that could probably have been worse is Taco Bell.
I don't know. I don't know. There's
Taco Bell wrecks people on the regular, so.
The Baconator's just so much. So much. Well, we got off track again. So
yep. I was like, are we still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording.
Yes.
But not for much longer.
We should wrap
thank
up.
You
yep.
Yes. Thank you for taking over as I got very tired and spaced out.
It's okay.
It is the end of the week. I get up early now. It kind of sucks getting up early. It's nice getting paid, though.
That is super great.
I'm off for the rest of the year.
Oh, lucky.
Oh, damn, yo. Wish I could do that.
I literally had to.
Ship shit.
It's the minimum amount of time that I have to take to not lose it.
Oh, you have a use it or lose it.
Well, I have a rollover, but there's a maximum to it, and I'm rolling over the maximum.
The rollover. Yes, I remember back when I did that when I had a job that could do that. Oh.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you plan all your vacations for a year and then can't take any of them.
Oh God.
Indeed.
Well, thank you for joining us for this episode. We hope we inspired you to go spend some money, hopefully with the right people. Please think about giving some money to the website. That would really help out. I don't know what Chris's situation is at the moment, but it doesn't sound good. So
that's actually our ultimate holiday gift guide, is make a donation to the Fandom Post in the name of your loved ones.
Yes, and then you can pick a piece of hentai off of Chris's gift list and take something out of out of the pile of giveaway stuff, most of which is hentai. So hey, free porn.
Yeah,
great stocking stuffer.
Sack of porn.
Great. Yep, sack of porn for the holidays. We're all locked in anyway. What else are you gonna do?
Oh, gross.
Thanks for joining us. Tune in next episode where I think it's going to be the season wrap up, and we will discuss all these shows that we've been watching and brace ourselves for the new year and the crazy winter season that is upon us. Stay safe, wash your hands, watch out, it's dangerous out there, and yeah.
Bye.
Peace out.
See ya.
Adios.